Oh, and we're live, which is so convenient because now that I have Jeff and Kim here both, I wasn't expecting either of you to be here, and I appreciate it because I wanted to tell you, Kim, you, Jeff, neither of you even like sports.
That's not true, and you know that's not true. You're a liar.
How come
We
I just
recorded earlier today. We recorded a podcast about sports.
if it's not true, then how come I just said it?
To be fair, Kim does not like sports, but
That's true.
I still don't know if I understand this bit.
That's okay. Hey, Kim, you drink Diet Coke out of a metal straw out of the can?
Yes.
Was that what you were doing?
What's happening?
Yes.
Does that change the taste? I know we're doing our show, but I can't let that go right now.
Does it change it from nasty to nasty?
Yeah, like what's the metal straw do to Diet Coke?
Nothing.
It just
Is it
dissolves the straw right into the can.
Yeah.
It doesn't do
All right.
anything. It's
All right,
just a
sorry.
straw.
Well,
I have a lot of straws because I like straws, and I like also the earth.
Good. Off to a good start. Hey,
I
everyone.
didn't do this. I did not do this.
But you're doing it now. Welcome to You Don't Even Like Sports. Everybody, I'm Adam Todd Brown. Who else is here?
Kim Crawl.
And Jeff May.
I feel like I'm in trouble. I think I'm in trouble with Dad. That's how I feel.
That makes us your hosts. We're here to talk about sports.
Sports ball. Is there a sports ball game happening?
It's just the three of us for right now, but in a little bit, and just for a little bit, we're going to be joined by comedian Atif Myers.
I love Atif so much. Was that a surprise for us?
What a surprise.
What a good surprise. Why only just a little bit? Why'd you emphasize?
Well, because Atif is a recent father. He's very busy.
Oh, yeah.
We will be covering a topic that he is very passionate about at one point.
This next one right here, the tennis one.
Why would you assume the women's tennis? I said he's going to be joining us later, everybody.
I don't know.
So we're not getting all of a tiff. We're just getting just the tiff.
Just the tiff. That's right. Haha, get it?
I do.
Like just the tip. It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible, you know?
It's this that makes me not want to engage when he makes a joke. He does a whole thing before or afterwards.
From the comments, Jay the Crow Baron says, I love that Masters of the Universe shirt, Adam. Thank you. I have another one just like it. Got them both at Beautiful Blast from the Past on Beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, where Jeff does his comedy show.
Hey, why did you get two?
I updated. This is a new one. The other one I've had for a long time. I wore it a bunch. It's getting kind of raggedy. This is a new slate of Masters of the Universe characters. Not all new, but there's some new figures on this one. But the other shirt, very similar. Very similar. Now who's taking this show off the rails, huh?
I was going to say, you know what, Adam? The fact that you're the one talking about Masters of the Universe while I'm sitting here in a gray shirt. This is a real twist, real gift of the Magi scenario we have going on here.
I mean, I did watch Masters of the Universe and buy all the figurines. It's just I did it as a kid and not, as an adult.
I have some of those animation cells. You like tennis.
I like tennis. It's time for our obligatory tennis news of the week. Because here's the thing. There's no off season for tennis. So I'm always going to have tennis to talk about. And on the one hand, I'm very excited. It's time for the Australian Open. It's almost over, actually. We have hit the semifinals, right? Put another volley on the Barbie.
Serve another ace on the Barbie, mate.
Yeah.
Hello.
The Australian Open is happening right now. On the one hand, very excited. I'm staying up very late tonight. The women's semifinal, Coco Gauff versus Arina Sabalenka, starts at 12:30 midnight. That is a rematch of last year's U.S. Open final, which Coco Gauff won. She leads 4-2 in their head-to-head.
In the season series?
No, lifetime 4-2, not season.
What did we learn about Coco Gauff last week?
She is the highest paid female athlete.
Okay.
And she's on the cover of the only comic book Adam owns.
Yes.
Really?
Not the only comic book I've ever owned, but again, adult now. So I just
Is that just like a dig at Jeff over and over
well,
again?
no, it's not a dig, but I feel like sometimes people act like I just have no knowledge of any of that shit because I didn't carry it into adulthood with me. And it's like I watched cartoons as a
Hey,
child.
you didn't Mariah carry it
All right. There she is.
right there.
So the Australian Open's going. I'm very excited about that. But kind of a bummer. One, Carlos Alcaraz, one of my favorite players. He has never won the Australian Open, and he's not going to win it this year because he got bumped. He lost in the quarterfinals. The Australian Open, I was watching it when I went to bed last night. And when I got up, I checked my phone and I was like, I bet that shit's still on. And sure enough, the Alcaraz match was still on. It was only on for a few more minutes after I got up. But what's really a bummer about that is who he lost to. He lost to a guy named Alexander Zverev. And the thing about Alexander Zverev, he, I think, is number 7 in the world. And he, in terms of tennis, is number 1 in the world when it comes to impending domestic abuse trials. He has been accused by 2 separate girlfriends of domestic abuse, like physical assault, including most recently the mother of his child, who said he threw her into a wall and choked her. And I'm unclear if that's I don't think it was while she was pregnant, but I wouldn't be surprised either. What?
Jesus Christ.
I was going to say something and then decided I didn't need to.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
This is that kind of
doesn't happen often.
Well, when the phrase is thrown up against a wall and choked, and I was going to make a little clever little joke, and then I was like, I don't know, maybe now's not the time.
Oh, while we're talking about domestic violence, you don't
Yeah,
want to make a
yeah. It
joke?
seems like this face and doing a little bit during that. I know this is a comedy podcast, but we're leading with wife beating, so I'm out.
We sure are. And it's a real bummer because tennis is one of the few leagues that there was a point, obviously, all of the major sports leagues put domestic abuse policies in place a long time ago. And by that, I mean right around 2014, which is when Ray Rice was caught on camera punching his girlfriend in that elevator. And then the NFL was subsequently caught not caring about it.
Not giving a fuck.
The
Yeah.
NFL's, that was like a big thing for them, was just being like, hey, we know our people are doing this, but we do not care. Remember
We're
that?
not going to do anything about it.
That kicker at the Pro Bowl that threatened to like murder his wife. And they're like, all right, we'll move you to another room on the floor.
Yeah.
And it was like, I feel like that's not good, Roger.
That's actually the point in history when a lot of sports leagues started putting a conduct policy in place relating to domestic violence.
You can't beat up women. Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know if it's that or it's just like, please don't, or we'll punish you for doing it. Yeah.
And by punish you, like, we'll just
please don't get caught. I think.
Yeah. Just don't make the NFL look bad. Don't make the sports organization look bad. Do what you got to do. But
that stuff, the way the NFL handled it is why I kind of stepped away from football for a little while. Because I was just like, I don't know if I can keep watching this stuff when the organization in of itself is just being like, we're going to sweep this right under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know that there's an organization that doesn't, though. Like, I don't know the fact that we haven't heard a lot of baseball player domestic violence stories. I don't know that means there's none. I just feel like
baseball players are getting into their own little trouble. Those scamps. Those little rabble rousers running around with teens.
With teens. I don't like it.
So, Kim, in case you're wondering, there's a player formerly for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays named Wander Franco, who was like one of those players that's like the future of baseball. And then they're like, and also he's been screwing around with future adults. And yeah.
I'm so tired.
He was going to make 9 figures in his life. And instead
banged a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite literally. Yeah.
Quite literally.
Quite literally.
And so, yeah, Alexander Zverev, I didn't know until reading about this today that tennis is one of the few major sports leagues that has not yet put any kind of domestic violence policy in place. And because of that, they can't really do anything until they have something on the books. And they didn't start putting something on the books until 2020. And guess what compelled them to start putting something on the books?
Good old Alex.
Alexander Zverev beating his last girlfriend. They were like, damn, we got to do something about this guy. And since then, they haven't written those rules fast enough to like prevent him from doing it again. It's like when the cops let a serial killer go in a movie.
Red Queen.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's really fat. Like, it's funny because like, yeah, you figure like tennis is going to be the one that they're like, well, our people, we're not concussion people. We're not like weightlifting people. Like, you know, and you see like Ray Rice doing it and like, okay, well, he's 230 pounds of pure muscle. And they're like, well, that's not what we are. You know,
yeah.
Like, gonna beat him with a racket for an hour and a half, maybe, but you know.
Yeah.
It turns out men are awful in all sports.
Yeah, tennis sees itself as, I think, kind of like a higher class thing.
Sport of kings.
Yeah. And I could see them being like, well, we don't have to worry about that. And it's like, all these fucking Eastern European hotheads you're fielding in tennis. You think none of them are beating their wives? Come on. But just them, just the Eastern European people.
No. American men famously do not do that.
Do not commit.
Andre Agassi does it to pillows.
Yeah, Andre Agassi will punch a pillow.
I'm unaware of this reference.
Well,
you don't even like sports. The Andre Agassi season available at
What's
you don't
happening right now? Why are you whispering?
I mean, you don't even like sports. Again, big misconception that that's only available on Patreon. Just go look anywhere podcasts are. Every season except the Agassi season is available publicly. So,
but the Agassi season isn't only on Patreon
until we put it on Patreon, so the Patreon subscribers hear it first, and then we put it out publicly.
Oh, when did you record the Agassi season?
We're in the middle of it right now.
We just did an episode.
There's a story about Andre Agassi revealing to Brooke Shields that he wears a wig, basically, and in the process of it, he's like punches a pillow because he's just like, oh, I can't handle the stress and pressure of wearing this wig.
Yeah,
and talking about it.
Have you worn a wig though? Like wearing a wig is uncomfortable. Playing
it's like
tennis,
a weave too, yeah.
And playing tennis in it was probably a nightmare for him.
Oh yeah, you should all listen
symbol.
You should all listen to You Don't Even Like Sports. Available all places, but currently patreon.com/onbobs.
Right, but also everywhere else. Everywhere. Patreon.com/onbobs. You don't pod .supercast.com also. That's actually the better place to get bonus episodes. I'm kind of like moving away from Patreon. Let me tell you, they make adding a new tier a nightmare. If I want if I want to add a new tier and include back podcasts, I have to go into each episode individually and edit it to add it to that tier. In some of our shows, we've got 200 and 300 episodes. So Patreon, there's one $18 level like going forward. And then the cheaper levels are at youdon'tpod.supercast.com.
The comms are saying they love that season, by the way. But yeah, Alex, naughty, Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad behavior.
What's happening?
I was talking about the captain beats his wife. From Tennis World.
Yeah, so now Zverev is in the semifinals. Who does he play? I'm not sure if we know.
What I don't understand is why is this just the tennis association? I don't know what they're called. Why is it just their problem? Isn't beating your wife illegal? Like, why isn't this guy getting some sort of ramifications for? That's what.
Yeah, but you're innocent until proven guilty. There is that too. Like,
But
And
has he been arrested? Has there been any investigation,
but
or is
even-
he
yeah, there
famous?
have
So
been-
we don't care.
There have been investigations. Tennis investigated the first claims, and he's been charged. But again, like tennis players are like any other athletes. Like they have representation in situations like this. And there's nothing on the books when it comes to tennis. There are no rules that specifically outline domestic violence. So
Are there crime rules?
That's what
Like,
I'm
if you're
asking.
convicted
there's
of a crime?
crime rules, but he hasn't been
He hasn't been
charged with a
convicted yet.
crime. He
Oh,
hasn't
he
been.
hasn't even been charged yet.
No, like
Okay.
he's going to trial, but he's not been like
Yeah.
convicted of anything.
So if he's going to trial, then I guess he's been charged but not convicted.
In
Yes.
Europe, also, you have to
Oh,
take that into account. It's also an American tennis outfit and a European court.
Yeah. That's where the courts, they all wear like big powdery wigs and stuff.
Like they really
Probably.
still do that. Yeah.
I mean, he's German, despite the name. I don't know if he's originally German. I think he might just play for Germany now. But yeah, he plays Medvedev in the semifinals. And so hopefully Medvedev takes him out. Medvedev's really good. And if not, maybe he'll play Djokovic in the finals. And he's not going to beat Djokovic. See, that's the thing. Don't make me root for Djokovic. Don't be that player. Makes me have to want Djokovic to win. Ugh, gross.
Grosevich.
So yeah,
I have a question about your evening your night tonight.
okay.
Are you going to take a nap, or are you going to power through till 12:30?
Oh, I'm almost certainly going to take a nap. I rarely stay up until 12:30 anymore. So yeah, powering through is not an option. I'm going to have to sleep a little bit.
I wasn't sure if you were going to do drugs or take a nap.
Both, but
Do some methamphetamine.
Just do
Yeah.
a
Play
rail
some
of
tennis while you're at it.
but also it's a women's match, which means the chances of it going like 4 or 5 hours are much less because women play best of 3 in majors and men play best of 5.
And
that's
it goes
why
4 to 5 hours. You watch
Oh, yeah.
tennis for 4 to 5 hours.
I mean, that's like an hour longer than an NFL game. Like it's not.
Yeah, but it's
That
just like 2
crazy.
people out there for that long. That's
Yeah,
it.
I like to-
There's
I like to think of that as boxing, but doing the same thing where it's like 4 hours.
that's bananas.
2 men beating each other like it's 1908.
I guarantee you tennis is the hardest sport. Like from a physical standpoint, I can't imagine.
Honestly, I thought
anything
each match would be like 30 minutes tops. Like I don't
No,
think
once you get into the finals, men's matches like typically go 3 hours and sometimes 3 to 5 hours. And you're on your feet the whole time, you're moving the whole time. It's nuts.
yeah,
I love it. That's why I love it. It's so much fun. So much fun to watch.
Why do they only do 3 and women's only do 3 and men's do 5?
Oh,
Period.
because men big and strong.
Yeah.
And women small and weak.
Women small, weak, periods.
Yeah.
Cramps.
Yeah, women small, weak, periods.
How do you not know this, Kim? Believe women.
Men big, strong upper body, powerful men.
I think that's probably
strong
really
stuff.
why. Is that really why? I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't think of what else.
Yeah, I mean, I
Just
feel like
see.
that's probably it, but
You know, they pulled like a bunch of American men, and they like way more than half was like, yeah, I could beat Serena Williams in a tennis match. Like,
there's a very classic tweet about that where a guy like
Yeah.
sets up the whole scenario. Is like, I comment that if she, she'd look better if she smiled more. She does not respond. A tennis ball careens through my forehead, killing me instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are some pretty big differences in the men's and women's game that, like, Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs was a thing. Like, that happened, Billie Jean King, but Billie Jean King was really good and Bobby Riggs was old as shit. The thing that really differentiates men's and women's tennis is the serve speeds. And that is where I think women's players would be at a disadvantage. Like Ben Shelton, who is an up and coming player, his serves tend to clock in around 135 to 140 miles an hour.
Wasn't that Roddick too? He was like famous for like.
Roddick was famous for it, but he wasn't that close.
Really?
Like he was closer to 130. Like the men's game is evolving to where these serves are like 135, 145 miles an hour. And in women's tennis, it's more like 115, 120. So there's a distinct disadvantage there because the men are going to be seeing serves that are significantly slower than what they're used to. And women are going to be getting like Roger Clemens fastballs.
It's one of the big arguments I see a lot of times is that men oftentimes like to argue like strength as the like, well, I'd like to see them beat this person. And it's like, that's not what sports is about. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but like when they'll compare men's and women's sports and be like, I'd like to see Serena play an average male player. It's like, okay, well, I'd like to see Manny Pacquiao fight Mike Tyson and see how that would have gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how this works. Like it's about the challenge of the match in front of you, not comparing two totally different bodies to each other and saying,
yeah,
who's bigger, Manny Pacquiao or Mike Tyson?
Manny Pacquiao is a little homophobe.
Yeah. And Mike Tyson's a big,
powerful sex offender.
Yeah. And probably homophobe too.
Yeah. I don't think he's not homophobic.
Yeah, I doubt it.
It's wild to me when people talk about Mike Tyson. And in my head, I'm like convicted rapist Mike Tyson. Like that every time someone talks about him, I'm like convicted rapist Mike Tyson. Why are we just fine with that now?
I think it's because he went to prison and he paid his dues to society. And I think we're supposed to believe prison? Several years.
What's several years?
He was
3, 5, 10.
Like the point of prison is technically rehabilitation. If somebody pays their stuff, like we should be like, okay, they did the awful thing and it was awful. They paid their price. You don't have to lift them up or anything, but like, I mean, why have prison at all if we're not going to believe that when people pay what they were supposed to be paying? It's the same thing with Michael Vick, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's okay for doing it. I'm just saying he went to jail for it. And we should, I guess, accept that people pay their things.
We could move on. Also.
I would not mind that.
That would be great.
Okay.
We're going to save the next story for a little bit. I don't know why I said that. People at home can't see my notes. But the Milwaukee Bucks, let's talk about this. They fired their head coach again. The Milwaukee Bucks, they are ruthless when it comes to firing head coaches. In around the 2020 season, there were all these rumors that coach Mike Budenholzer his job might be at risk because they made the playoffs that year and got bounced really early. But next season, Mike Budenholzer wins an NBA championship as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. So you'd think, that means his job is pretty secure. No. He got fired the next season because they lost in the first round of the playoffs. And now
made it to the playoffs.
Not only did they make it to the playoffs, they had the best record in the NBA last year. And they just happened to get bounced early in the playoffs, year before. And they got bounced early in the playoffs and the Bucks were like, nope, that's it. And so this season, they had a first-year coach, a guy named Adrian Griffin. They are 30-13, which ties them for second best record in the NBA, not just in their conference, in the NBA entirely. And now they just fired their coach again.
They're just looking for reasons.
Yeah, is it like there has to be more internal something we don't know that.
Well, we'll link to it in the show notes and I'll put it in the chat for anyone who's watching live who wants to give it a read.
Yeah.
But there's a really interesting article on The Ringer that the headline is basically the Milwaukee Bucks had no choice but to fire Adrian Griffin. And I've talked to a couple people who know basketball, and they're like, yeah, that record is good, but their defense is like, it's non-existent. Like, they have no defense. They're going to get murdered if they make it to the playoffs with that kind of defense. And the way this article on The Ringer makes it sound like they are just a shambles behind the scenes, even though they're winning. And it seems like the concern was, yeah, like, we're doing fine, but that coach isn't, like, we made a mistake by hiring that coach.
That is fascinating. There's, because like really when it comes down to it, they're like, who's going to beat the Celtics in the East?
Yeah.
And probably no one, which is nice. We'll see what happens when it gets further. But, you know, who they hired is very funny if you know that the Celtics are on top.
Oh, yeah.
But it does seem like the Bucks have been really having like a Steinbrenner level amount of dealing with head coaches where they're
What did
just like,
Steinbrenner do?
he used to just fire people, rehire them. He was like an overly busy-bodied owner.
Yeah, they
the-
should have they should have rehired Mike Budenholzer. Guy won him a championship. But instead, they hired NBA coaching legend Doc Rivers. And here to share his thoughts on NBA coaching legend Doc Rivers, ladies and gentlemen, comedian Atif Myers.
Hi.
What's up, everybody? Sorry to have a mic.
No, it's fine.
I fucking hate Doc Rivers
because of his
hate him
voice.
so much. He's the most overrated fucking coach of all time. Like, he wins one championship with the Celtics when they had a Hall of Fame level team. Like, anybody can do that. Fucking Whoopi Goldberg and Eddie could have done that. He fucking has ruined Team X's career. He's ruined Chris Paul's career. I found some stats. He's blown 3-1 series leads, which has only happened 13 times in NBA history. He's lost 32 closeout games in playoffs. He's the most mediocre, worst fucking coach of all time. Yet he gets props because of what he did with the Celtics, which anybody could have done.
Okay, I actually want to step in on the getting props with the Celtics because, to be fair, we wanted him fired in 2007. Like, everybody wanted him gone.
The year before.
Huh?
That was like the year when they sucked ass completely, and then the next year they got
2008
KG and Ray Allen and then won it.
Yeah. I think Doc Rivers is I look at him like a jobber. Like, he's a company guy that shows up and whatever ownership tells him to do, he's going to do.
He's the Brooklyn Brawler of coaches.
In a way, yes. Like, it's a job, but it's not like one of those things where, like, if you were to hire, like, you know, back when they were like, can we get Bobby Knight in there? And Bobby Knight's like, I want to coach the way I want to do, and I don't want an owner talking to me at all.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing like that. That's the kind of energy. And Doc Rivers, he does well when he has very talented players.
Who wouldn't?
Like, I mean, some people don't, to be 100% honest. Like, some people just don't. Like,
sure.
That happens a lot.
But like, I just feel like he's like an AAU coach where he's like, yeah, well, just go do your thing. I'm going to eat chips. Y'all just run the ball. I don't think he has any defense.
But also,
he's the worst.
That thing about him doing well when you put good players around him, does he? Like, if he's only won the one championship, like, you could argue, because his record, they were talking about this on Pardon the Interruption today, and Tony Kornheiser brought up that Doc Rivers is, I think, 6-10 in game sevens, which is the worst in history. He's also, I think, 17-33 in closeout games. So does he do that well when you surround him? Like, he it seems like he just won the one championship, and then he's otherwise going to let you down when you get to the playoffs.
And everybody on the team was like a Hall of Famer. Like that team was so stacked, and like
Good team.
I'm
man.
not hating at all, but that shouldn't like have bought him this much leeway for like 15 years.
Oh, that's a long
I
time.
mean, I mean, it was 2008 that
Yeah.
that we got it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, look, I think it's one of those things where the first, like the beginning of his career, he had like nobody. He had like one star on every team, you know. And then when they gave him the opportunity, but like that happens in coaching a lot. Like
Yes.
that does happen a lot where like coaches who never achieve success will still just keep shifting and moving to different places, like some sort of pedophile priest just getting thrown to the next team. That's be like, well, maybe we can make it work with them. And then it never works.
It's just everybody is like thinks he's like the best fucking coach, but he's so awful and average at best.
I think he's average. I think the
At
evidence
best.
is circumstantial because they're getting to game sevens, which I know he's losing them, which is like the clutch aspect, but they're getting there, which is you can only have one championship team. And yeah, like the collapses, they do happen, but I do feel like it's unfair. And I do not have much skin in the game. I'm not thanking him for a championship. I feel like we would have won in 2008, no matter who the coach was. But I do think some of it's unfortunately circumstantial.
He's just the goddamn worst. Like I hate him so much. He hasn't even coached any teams I like. I just fucking hate this man.
What's your team?
The Dallas Mavericks.
Mm. So, Tiff, how much basketball do you watch? Quite a bit of basketball.
Not as often as I used to, but like I usually pick up like around All-Star weekend, and then I'll just watch a bunch.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're in the stage of the NBA season where I'm getting most of my information from headlines. Like there's so much sports on right now, but the NBA season also goes into the summer. So we have time. Someone did bring up in the comments, I wasn't going to mention this because it is a very sportsy thing that just happened, but Joel Embiid scored 70 points in a game the other night. And not just that, he did it in 37 minutes of playing time.
But also against Wembanyama, who's like this French alien.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did it against Wembanyama.
Well, Wembanyama needs a couple of seasons to get his footing.
No, but I'm saying, but he's just like he's an alien. Like you watch him dunk over people, and it's like
absolute
dunking on toddlers.
Yeah, he's already pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny. Like a 70-point game, like they're super impressive, but like sometimes I go back to like the fact that the NBA doesn't really have that much defense the way it used to have. Like if you look at like what the scores are, like regular time games are ending in like 135 to 127. Sure. Show me how many times in the 80s and 90s with the best shooters did that ever happen.
It's still very uncommon that in say 140 point game that one player puts up half of those 140.
Well, sure, it is impressive.
Same night Karl Anthony Towns had like 60 also.
Yeah,
like it was just a crazy night of scoring. But you're right, like in the 90s, you would be like, "Oh my god, this game's so high scored," and it's like 91 to 89.
Yeah. You used to win a free sandwich at McDonald's if they got over 100 points.
Really?
That was back in the day when some defender would hit you with their car before the game.
Yeah, they ran that promotion. Now they would be giving people diabetes.
Yeah, it's a problem. I'm glad they ended that promotion, but it is definitely. I think it stands to it while we're talking about it. Like when people talk about like they're like GOAT and they always do like the MJ or LeBron thing, and I'm like, you can't do that. You can't compare them. You just can't, because they played in eras where like LeBron is physically dominant, but he takes a tap, he goes down. And back in the day, it used to be like, oh, Larry Bird accidentally put you in a sleeper hold while you were going up for a goddamn layup.
But see, I think you can still make that comparison, because would LeBron be as dominant in Jordan's NBA? Probably not. Would Jordan be as dominant in LeBron's NBA? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Like it's a thing you can barely compare, because like LeBron is, a freak. physically. Like he is a powerful man. It's just, but then he always like he takes these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm like, but you're so big and strong. We don't believe
that's the
you.
thing I almost put in the notes. The NBA's fixed right now, right?
It's still looking like it.
It's softly. I think it's softly fixed. I think it protects every player like they're a quarterback.
Like no, it protects stars.
Stars. Yeah.
There was the Houston Rockets. I don't know the coach's name, but he went on a rant last week, I believe it was, or week before, because there was a game where in the fourth quarter, the Lakers got something like 28 foul calls and the Rockets got 2. And he was like, how are we supposed to play a fair game if that's what's happening? Like 2, we got 2 fouls in the entire fourth quarter, and it breaks that way for the Lakers all the time, and it sucks.
Adam, how dare you bring up criticizing the most Teflon of officiating teams, the NBA?
Yeah.
The famously arrestable NBA officials.
The reason why like the Sacramento Kings have yet to get like a championship.
Is that why?
They got hosed in the early 2000s. Like they were so good, but then that ref like fixed it so the Lakers would win.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know this information. Refs in the NBA are fixing games and being.
There was this referee named Donaghy who basically got caught calling fake fouls for gambling purposes.
Yeah.
And it was a whole ass thing.
And like now we're supposed to believe that that's all an accident when it happens. Like yesterday, I almost put this in the notes also. The NBA puts out a thing called the final 2-minute report, apparently, for each game. And it's a thing people rarely look at. But in the final 2-minute report for a Timberwolves Hornets game yesterday, the NBA admitted that officials missed 10 calls.
The NBA reported that they had missed calls?
Yeah.
Yes, the NBA reported that refs missed 10 calls in the last 2 minutes of the Timberwolves Hornets.
Okay,
game.
Those officials apparently need a better union. Because if MLB did that, they'd be like, look what Angel Sanchez did. They would be like, we're actually quitting. You are not allowed to have umpires now because of what you just did.
The NBA shouldn't have refs. That should be robots now. Like their NBA refs they're bad. They're not
so bad.
Yeah, like I mean, there's something about the tradition of humans, but there are some things where I'm like, look, this one should be robots. Strike zones, I think, should be robots.
Strike zones already are. They just need to fucking formalize it. Like, we get robot with it. Strike zones already.
The NFL actually has really leaned into, like, the NFL, I think, is the biggest proponent of like, let's see what a robot has to say.
What don't they still have a rope and chain for yardage?
Well, they do that. Well, yeah, but that's also like the rope and chain that works. Like that does what it needs to do. But like at least like their replay, they're like, well, it's the last 2 minutes, so we're gonna look at it through the robot every time.
Yeah, I think spotting the ball is a thing that they need to automate in some way, because there's no way. Like that ref, did he go to run a straight line school when he comes from the sideline and is like, no, trust me, I'm going to run a perfect straight line, and where my foot lands 25 feet away, that's where this ball was. It's like, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
That there has to be like a sensor system they could invent, like put it in the ground, put something in the ball.
Use VAR like soccer does.
Oh, sure. What's that? Yeah. What's soccer?
VAR, like, so if the ball
back up. What's soccer?
Okay. All right. Football? No. World football, not American
sport in the world. Yeah.
It's pronounced football, actually. Nice try, a tiff.
Well, with VAR, like you should know, even because of tennis. Like they're so on top of shit.
Oh yeah, they have an automated line thing. Yeah. I just don't know how it would work with football, because you also have to take into account like when the knee was down and shit like that.
They have like 40 cameras that are watching like every single player.
Yeah, that's true. So
fuck Doc Rivers in summation.
I think you ever heard him talk before. What did he do to his throat? He did something.
Not use his diaphragm.
Every time I hear him talking, I'm like,
oh,
Does he? Yeah. I don't know.
Have you heard him talk? Like he talks like he needs to clear his throat
It's
at
bad.
all times, and it is an issue.
How
Oh, I
has he
wouldn't
not
like
got like a
listening to
Halls
him.
deal?
Because he'd be like, look what doesn't work.
All right. We should probably move on from Doc Rivers. A Tiff, you got to
A
get out of here, I'm
Tiff.
I'll
assuming.
get out of here. I'll see you guys.
Gotta go
It
be a
was nice
parent.
to see you.
Sorry, I don't
Hey,
have a
get out
mic.
of here.
Thanks
All
for
right, bye.
joining us. We'll see you later.
Bye,
Bye,
Tiff.
Tiff. I
I
love
hate
him.
that guy. Oh, sorry.
I'm-
I'm sorry. We're going with love him.
I love
Tiff's
him.
great.
Yeah, we
Thanks
love it, Tiff.
again.
Friend
All
of
right.
the show.
Next story. The highly entertaining Twitter feud between Robert Griffin III and former Washington coach Jay Gruden. Did everyone look at the back and forth here?
Ooh,
Yeah, that was
split.
wild.
You want to know
It's
something wild? I forgot about Robert Griffin III.
You know something even more wild? I think about him a lot.
Really?
Well, if you,
RG3? Remember when
Yeah,
he was like the
that's-
star and everyone thought he was going to be like one of the next best things and then he
Yeah,
just sort of
and then-
petered out.
He flashed in the pan, which is why I forgot about him.
I
didn't-
I just think about him all the time. I don't every football season. I'm like,
I mean,
that guy is
flash in the pan is one way to put it. He suffered a debilitating
a
knee injury.
terrible injury.
Yeah.
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 And it's like
happens
what,
in
like
sports.
third year in the NFL or something like that?
And he's still on my radar because I watch a bunch of ESPN, and he's a
Commentator? Is that what he's
commentator on ESPN. There was a moment not too long ago where I don't remember what team it was that was in need of quarterback. I think the Vikings. And he was listing off quarterbacks that were still available. And he goes, myself. And he was dead serious. Like, man, no one's signing you this. late in
Also,
the
hasn't
game.
he hasn't played football in
A long, long time.
like 10 years?
Yeah. I don't know how long. Yeah. Something like
Yeah.
that.
Isn't he like old for football now too? Like he's like 100
No
in
such thing
football
as old
years.
for football now.
Yeah.
Not since they got the TB12 treatment.
But I
So-
mean, if you haven't played in 10 years and you're old for football, then you're real old for football. You know what it like?
Well, yeah. I think that's what Colin Kaepernick is running up against now, too.
Oh, I love him.
Where like it keeps coming up that like, is this going to be the time when a team signs Kaepernick? And it's like,
Yeah, that man is 53 years old now.
yeah, he's getting a little long in the tooth. I don't know.
And
if
he
that's-
hasn't played and
Yeah. So here's what happened with RG3 and Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden tweeted a thing that said, if I ever put a QB through what Philly is putting Jalen through, I apologize. Pick up a blitz. And Robert Griffin III, who used to play under Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden was his coach when RG3 played in Washington. He quote tweeted that and said, say what? And did the picture where he's got the glasses and he's like lowering him to look over his glasses. You know the thing.
Yeah.
And this turns into a whole back and forth. Jay Gruden tweets, you weren't prepared, Robert. Robert Griffin replies, you told me you didn't know how to coach a QB who could throw and run like me. So it looks like you weren't prepared, Jay.
He could have been being nice to you, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't immediately, if you have your starting quarterback, be like, you fucking suck. Or like, I don't like the way you play. You'd be like, oh, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to coach with a player that's as good as you.
Yeah. Ooh, all your skills. I don't
You
know.
got too many skills for me. Like, that's a classic. Ooh, like
Yeah.
that's a
It's
classic.
not you, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Really? They do that in sports? I feel like they're just
We do
mean
that in
to-
everything.
Do that everywhere. Yeah.
Ugh.
And Jay Gruden replies, you're right. We didn't have a good enough staff. Sorry. Hope all is well with you. So it seems like he's trying to just
He's like, I'm out. Yeah.
put this to bed.
Yeah,
and
I
it
didn't
is
mean to
worth-
pick a fight this morning on Twitter. So good luck
And
to
it
you,
is-
kid.
It is
Seems like-
worth noting part of that staff, Sean McVay, who has since gone on to win a Super Bowl as a head coach in Los Angeles. So Robert Griffin replied to that, and then Jay Gruden goes nuclear. He tweeted this and then deleted it, but come
It's
on.
the internet.
Yeah, that's not how that works. He tweeted, You weren't good enough. Kirk was better. Cleveland didn't want you. Baltimore didn't either. Quit blaming me.
I mean,
what do you say to that? Like,
Ouch.
he didn't say anything to that, right? Or he deleted it, but like, did RG3?
He didn't. I don't think RG3 responded to that. And even worse, after Jay Gruden deleted that, he replaced it with another tweet.
which
just
is
said,
way better.
Go race a pigeon, which there's video attached to it. Robert Griffin III did actually race a pigeon on a football field once.
And
We will
everyone
not
seemed to
tell
be
you who
taking
won.
it very seriously. While you watch the video, everyone is not kidding. No one is kidding. Like,
Especially
it's
not that pigeon.
He did beat the pigeon, though.
He did win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after the pigeon beat him.
But
won
did the
race. He then
pigeon-
beat the pigeon?
The pigeon wasn't also in on the race.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, the
like,
pigeon's
"Oh,
a
I gotta
bird.
fly away," and then was like, "That man's running really fast. I'm gonna go this way." You know, like the pigeon didn't know he was racing.
Yeah, the pigeon should have just went up.
Yeah.
Take off.
Yeah. Do that, RG3. Let's see
Yeah.
you fly.
Yeah, what's your vertical? What was your
Yeah.
combine vertical?
Can you clear those goalposts at the end of the field?
Can you perch atop of the press box like I can? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Because I'm PG3.
That stands for pigeon.
Pigeon 3.
I got it. It was funny.
Let's talk about Caitlyn Clark, one of my favorite athletes right now. She is so fun to watch. She is a college basketball player. She plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And she just broke the record for most expensive women's basketball card ever sold, which, man, talk about a pay disparity. The auction right now, I have a link to it. And you have to understand, with auctions like this, there's a premium that they add on at the end of the sale price. So all these articles are saying it's like 22,000 and the auction says 19,000. That's why there will be like a premium added at the end. But Caitlyn Clark, a 1-of-1 superfractor auto, Bowman Chrome University, 2022-2023. That card, the auction is still going. It's got 1 day left. Right now, it's right around $22,000. And the previous record was $11,000, which was a card. It was a Sabrina Ionescu card, who was like the Caitlyn Clark before Caitlyn Clark. She's now in the WNBA. And meanwhile, like the most expensive men's sports card ever sold.
Yeah,
is
we did an episode on that once.
Yeah, it's millions. It's millions.
Yeah.
But also that I maintain that's one of the reasons why collecting women's sports stuff is so satisfying. Like, you can get really cool shit for not that much. I just missed out on a Naomi Osaka, Arena Sabalenka, 1-of-2 dual autograph card. It went for $230. If that was like, I don't know, Aaron Judge and Mike Trout, that'd be like a $50,000 card.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's
pretty
women's
impressive.
sports. Since it's women's sports, it's super affordable. Like, not super. I wasn't spending.
It's also tennis, which isn't baseball either, as far as that.
Right.
Also, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like a Sampras and Agassi dual auto would also not pull in that. Still be nice.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
Well, I know it's going to make that. I'm just saying it's not going to make baseball money because baseball's
No.
America's pastime.
Yeah, because everyone watches baseball.
I don't
I
watch
mean-
baseball.
They don't.
They don't, but it still is the thing, apparently.
It's fun to go to a game.
Yeah, I love baseball.
I like the picnic energy of
Yeah.
going to a baseball game and possibly
Yeah.
getting into a fight with a man and having him throw a beer and hit a baby.
Yeah, that part's fun too.
That part
God,
is
I
my
hate-
favorite part.
I hate LA sports fans. Kings fans seem. I think Kings games are the chillest LA sports experience.
Are we going to get into hockey, Adam? You and me? Are we going to
We
try
have
this
to.
year?
We're going to have
Yeah.
to talk about hockey at some point. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
should, yeah.
Should we go to a game?
I mean, I would go to another hockey game. I love going to hockey games.
We should hit up our good friend Jesse from the Kingsman podcast.
Yeah. Let's get him on the podcast. He can.
We should get him on. Yeah, we have hockey stuff going.
Yeah, he can
My-
explain to me and Kim what is
The
hockey.
draw. What's the draw? My friend invited me to a Kings game the other day, but I was out of town. She
Oh,
has season
in-person
tickets.
hockey.
Yeah.
In-person hockey is great.
And
It's
she
so
knows I want to be a hockey fan, so she's like, come to a game.
I just can't do it on TV. It just does not do it for me on TV.
It's a really good background music to have on. Like it's a good
Very
background.
violent. I do appreciate the violence of the whole
I
thing.
mean, I like violence. I'm not
Yeah,
Love
that's-
violence.
for once.
Yeah, the collision. I mean, when you look at like the hits that go through, it's. I mean, I think football's in more, but fighting is more allowed, which is.
Yeah.
Once they hit I love that they can't fight anymore once someone falls down because skates can slit a throat. I love that information.
I mean,
Yeah.
Gates just slit a throat in a game in England a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Really? Like a human throat?
There's
They actually arrested the guy because if you watch the replay, he gets like sent airborne and then he kicks his leg out. And when he kicks his leg out, he fucking cuts a guy's throat. And that guy,
Did the guy live or die?
oh, he died.
He
Ooh.
died?
Mhm. Mhm.
Was it on live TV?
I know
Can
it's
you watch the
shocking that
video?
there's hockey in England and also that a guy died.
Yeah, this brought up a lot of questions for me, but we can move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Anyway, Caitlyn Clark, she's still alive.
She's
And her
selling sports cards.
And if you want her one-of-one superfractor auto graded at a PSA 10, you're going to have to shell out around 22 grand. That's a lot. But hey, Caitlyn
Fine.
Clark's great.
I'll do
Do the
it.
players get any of like when people like any of that, or is it just like a nice
Well,
like bragging
she's,
right?
she would have been paid by the company that made the card.
Yeah, she gets a
Okay.
licensing amount. Yeah.
Yeah, but beyond that, no, that's not.
What's the licensing? Is it a lot or no?
It depends. They get paid for autographs. They have like contracts that set up. So it's probably, depending on their fame, 5 to 6 figures.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Speaking of Caitlyn Clark, she got absolutely wrecked on Sunday by a fan who stormed the court after Ohio State upset Iowa, which brought up a debate on the sports shows. Should storming the court be banned?
Yes,
Absolutely.
The fact that
Yeah.
it is not banned already.
it's
is
wild. It's
unhinged
not.
to me.
Yeah. Just
Also,
for
what was
players-
the other side of the debate? Like, who was
Yeah,
arguing
yeah.
for it?
You should be allowed to storm when your team wins the championship, and that's the only. And then they should be allowed to clear.
Even then, like
People are
try that at the
animals.
Super Bowl, you're going to get gunned down by the National Guard probably. But
Yeah,
like at
don't-
college games, like here's what really sells me on the idea that storming the court should not be allowed. Everyone knows very famously during a tennis match, a player in the 90s named Monica Seles got stabbed on the court. A guy jumped out of the stands, knifed Monica Seles. She lived, but still, it impacted her career. I recently looked into that story again. His motivation was that he was worried she was going to beat his favorite player, who was Steffi Graf. And he didn't want Steffi Graf to lose to Monica Seles. So he ran out on the court and stabbed her.
People
How
are-
hard would it be for someone storming the court to just like knife Caitlyn Clark in the kidney and be like, oh, I'm a Minnesota Gophers man. I didn't want her to win the Big Ten.
people are
like-
fucking crazy.
Like
That's
you can't.
nuts.
And sports fans are just insane. Like
Yeah,
keep
sports
them
isn't
away
that
from the
important.
players.
Folks, we can't. I know, like we're doing a thing about sports, but like grand scheme of things, it's not that important. Leave
Yeah.
these people alone.
Yeah.
No stabbing. That's an official. You don't even like sports stance, and I don't care what either two of you have to say about it.
I'm pro stabbing.
I'm pro stabbing, just not athletes.
Not
They do
some
fit-
young girl, 21 on the court, not her.
I mean,
athletes
especially
in
not Caitlyn Clark. I got
Yeah, she's a
graded
national
cards,
treasure.
things.
Apparently. Do you have any
Yeah.
Caitlyn Clark cards?
oh, I've made
Yeah.
I've made decent money selling Caitlyn Clark cards. And I have a couple that I'm just keeping for
This
myself.
side of you that I'm learning more and more about is bananas. It's
Yeah,
like a
Caitlyn
whole,
Clark cards
it's a
sell.
whole secret life, I feel like.
They sell.
Oh yeah.
So
Where do you keep your cards? Do you have like a case?
the spokes of my bike. Because then when I ride my bike,
Does sound really cool.
yeah, it sounds neat. And I have so
that's-
many cards, like it sounds like an engine.
Yeah.
That's the
sounds
funniest
like
thing
you're
I think you've ever said. That's
riding a Harley.
I'm good. I'm gonna go. That's you peaked. That was great.
I actually have an entire closet where I keep my cards. Jeff saw it the other day. It's
took a
I need
shit
to
in it.
come to your home.
okay. Come over.
All right.
We'll watch the Equalizer 3.
Can we watch all three? Maybe that's what I'll do tonight. Yeah, let's watch all of them. I own them all. You know how I feel
That's
about
so-
the Equalizer.
I
Oh
sure
yeah.
do.
I just listened to the outtakes episode. I got all of the information of you about the Equalizer.
What's the outtakes episode?
It's okay.
What?
What? Outtakes.
There's an
From
outtakes thing
what?
that they put on all the
sometimes when we jibber jabber before the pods, I'll like edit that and make it like an outtakes thing, but not like personal information and shit.
It's like, what have I said besides
Yeah,
the
I don't like.
Equalizer thing?
I use some discretion when I put.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff you said on one of them was bleeped out because Adam is responsible.
Oh yeah, because you were mentioning like a company name, and I didn't know if you would want the company name. mentioned.
Oh,
Just bleeped it out.
God,
We
you're
can
such
mention it now if you want.
I appreciate
All
you as
right.
a human. I think about it a lot.
Don't. Anyway.
Should we
Equalizer 3.
finish up talking about the NFL playoffs? We don't have as many predictions to make, but
I was right, by the way, about everything except for when I voted with my heart.
So you were not right about everything.
Yeah.
Everything else.
That's what not being right about everything is. Yes.
So first game, Ravens v Texans. That went about how I expected it to go. That Ravens defense is tough. Like CJ Stroud did not play well, but it's a big game and he's a rookie. So he'll be back.
He's got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
but-
did, like, that's for a rookie and that whole story. That's really awesome.
And for the first half, they were right there with him. But like their only touchdown, like they were right there with him because they had that punt return for a touchdown right near the end of the first half. And then the Texans were done scoring after that. Niners, Packers. Man, I wanted the Packers to win this game.
I
was
know
like-
you did. Like, so bad.
It was a game.
It was a good game. It is insane to me how the Packers have seemingly just drafted the same quarterback 3 times in a row. Like if you look at their numbers up to this point in their respective careers,
Mhm.
Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love have like identical numbers. They have like almost identical win-loss records. And then Jordan Love's first playoff game ends in like very much Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers fashion. Like just 99.8% great game that ends with that 0.2%, which is irresponsible pass that no one should throw.
We call that the just kidding move. Like, you thought I was going to actually try to win the game. Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah, like Jordan Love threw that interception. It was first down. They had 2 timeouts left. Throw the ball away. Slide. Do anything.
Could be worse. They could have had an interception on the goal line on the Super Bowl, like
Oh,
Seattle did with the Patriots.
Oh,
God, that was so funny.
Yeah,
it really was. I didn't like the Patriots back then, but I really wanted to see the Seattle Seahawks fall because of
That
the
makes
Broncos
sense.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
I get it.
It was great revenge for me.
And here's the thing. The 49ers, they got lucky because the Packers dropped 2 interceptions that would have been pick sixes, like in rapid succession. So without that, I feel like the Niners probably lose that game. The 49ers also scored on a play that was an obvious delay of game. Like the clock ran out and they handed off to McCaffrey.
They let that 1-0 be a bit generous during the hike.
Yeah. And McCaffrey scored on that play. So whatever. The Niners won. Barely, but they won. Lions v. Bucks.
I want the Lions to win the Super Bowl so bad.
I like this one. Yeah.
One thing I noticed, like, for one, there was a pregame thing where they were doing this skit where a guy was acting like a weatherman, and he was talking about what the weather was going to be like in all of the different playoff locations. And he gets to Detroit and goes, "We don't know. We've never been here this late in January." So
that's
a good little. That's a good bit. That's a good joke.
That's a nice burn.
I couldn't help but notice that whenever there's a playoff game in like LA, New York, San Francisco, anywhere, that B-roll that they cut to commercial with is going to be like, "Ooh, look at all our attractions. Look at all our nice stuff." In this game in Detroit, they're just like, "Look how close we are to Canada."
One of the things I love is like anybody that knows the area that they're showing on camera knows that you are 40 minutes away from wherever the game is being played almost every time.
Oh, yeah. Really?
We're like,
especially LA, when they're like, "Hey, the Santa Monica Pier." It's like, that's 2 days away.
Or they'll be like, "Disneyland is right here." That happens in every Patriots game. They're like, "Lovely Gillette Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts." It's like, that is a 45-minute drive away from Boston. Do not show the Zakin Bridge. We are nowhere near Boston. We're not even the same area code.
Yeah. And yeah, with Detroit, they're just like, "Hey, look how fast you can get to someplace safer."
Yeah.
Also, we got a statue of a fist. Get used to seeing those. You're in Detroit.
I think we got a RoboCop statue coming soon. That was kickstarted 9 years ago.
Yeah. What happened to that money? That guy go to prison for embezzlement?
He got arrested by a robot cop. Yeah.
But Detroit won. Sure. It's fine. I'm not as excited about Detroit as everyone else.
I know you say this
like an underdog.
Your Bears fandom, but also you were like, I really wanted the Packers to beat the Niners. And
that's what was confusing too. Yeah.
It's not just my Bears fandom.
No, you don't like the Lions fans, right? How they're
Lions
like
fans are acting.
Oh, I love it. It is like, act like you've been here before, but you literally never have. So let them have their moment. We all are part of teams that, I mean, I know, Adam, your team hasn't done well since like, I don't
1986.
know. Yeah, the 80s.
I mean, we went to the Super Bowl in 06, but go off.
How long ago was 2006? Remind me, almost 20 years ago. I'm just saying, in your lifetime, you've at least like been a winner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The Lions haven't. Just let them have their moment. Let them be.
Don't talk shit to winners. You know, go take that to the fucking
one
Bills.
Super Bowl in 40 years, and you're.
This is like when the Royals won.
Did you win the 2006 Super Bowl?
No, but we went.
I'm just saying.
That was nice. Sometimes it's an honor just to be nominated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, let them have their.
Hey, Kim, remember when the Chiefs won this weekend?
No. Although I do stand by my Jason Kelce love. More so than ever. And on the podcast, his wife was like, I watched a couple of clips of their podcast, and Jason's wife was like, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna jump out that window and take off my shirt and pound a beer." And she goes, "This is the first time you're meeting Taylor. Please don't do that." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not asking permission. I'm doing it." And
correct.
I love him. I love them. I know it's like all my Bronco friends are like, "How can you love Travis Kelce?" Like, I think they're good dudes. I don't know, just happen to not be on my team.
I'm sure they're fine.
They seem like
fine dudes. Yeah.
I really, really do hope they lose. It would be fun to watch them lose in the Super Bowl to the Detroit Lions, but
I tell you what, I stand by. Same old Bills. The Buffalo Bills. Look, this is the early 90s Bills all over again. For the past at least 4 seasons, going into every season, we've been like, this is the year. This is the year Josh Allen and the Bills finally win a Super Bowl. And here, I hate to break it to you, but no, it's not. It's never going to be that year. This is the Bills. They are the Lions of the AFC. Like, they've had a good run the last few years.
Yeah.
They're the Bills.
Yeah, their biggest rivalry is with the right side of their goalposts.
Yeah.
I did
Wide
not know
right.
this about the Bills.
Wide
4
right.
consecutive losses in the 90s.
Yeah, you don't know what Bills stands for is boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Oh,
Bills. Bills lost 4. There's a 30 for 30 documentary about it. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. And
Yeah,
one of them in the exact way they lost this game. Why?
At the beginning of the season, the first game, I met a Buffalo Bills fan and took him home with me. He was
I'm
nice.
sorry, what was that?
We're
Say
still
that again?
friends. I took home a Buffalo Bills fan the first day of the game, first day of the season.
Congratulations.
And then we watched
Nice.
a lot of football together. And he was sitting next to me when the Broncos beat him by that field goal that we should not have won by, but we got to redo the field goal.
Was it
So-
Brian Dunkelman? I tried to get him to come on the pod to talk about the Bills, and he said
No.
he wants to talk about anything but the Bills. Which
No, I did not. I did not bring home Brian Dunkelman. Who's that?
First ever American Idol host.
Yeah, former
Really? The
Idol.
guy that was the co-host with Ryan Seacrest? You know him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been on the pod a bunch of times. He's great. He's a
Bring
comedian.
him on. Tell him to come on.
We
He's
did
such-
try that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell him
he
I
just
won't
did.
fangirl out.
Well, he couldn't do it, but I wanted to have him on to talk about the Bills. He's a devout Bills fan. But
Which is why he probably didn't want to come on to talk about the Bills.
yeah, he said honestly, like the Bills are the last thing I want to talk about right now.
And you're like, I actually understand that. Goodbye.
Yeah. And yeah, the Bills, here's the thing. Stephon Diggs, I think, is kind of overrated. Like, he's very talented, but where's he been the last half of the season? Like, go look at those stats, like the last 7 or 8 games. He has not been doing much. And he just seems like kind of a dick.
Yeah. Also, betting against the Chiefs nowadays seems like a fool's bet, right? Like,
Yeah.
generally speaking, like
I can honestly see Patrick Mahomes at some point being that kind of player where, like, in the NBA, like Ewing didn't win a championship. Barkley didn't win a championship. Peyton didn't win a championship.
Karl Malone's bitch ass.
Karl Malone didn't win a championship. And what's the excuse you always hear? Well, they were playing during the Jordan era, and he just won all the championships. It feels like Mahomes is heading down that road because all season people have been like, nope, Chiefs, this isn't their year. The Chiefs, they need an offense. Their receivers can't catch the ball. And now here we are, they're 1 game away from the Super Bowl once again. And I think most of that is Patrick Mahomes. He is just, he's so good. He's so good.
Quite talented
It
at football.
It also might be Taylor Swift too. So
It's not, but that's okay.
It's not. It's Patrick Mahomes.
you
Maybe
guys
it's
know I'm
Brittany
kidding,
Mahomes.
right? You know I'm
Yes.
kidding, right?
No.
I was serious in my reply. So
Brittany Mahomes, I don't hear great things about as a human. That's his wife's name.
yeah, I don't know her. I don't know
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I
I
do.
don't know
I
her.
do know Taylor Smith. I do know Taylor Swift though.
Yeah. Don't we all?
We dated.
Gerard Carmichael was in the booth with her in that game, and that was kind of fun to see.
Oh, fun.
I love Gerard Carmichael.
Yeah. They were hugging and excited when they won. I was like, oh, I didn't know that guy was a Chief fan.
Is he from Kansas City? He might be.
I don't know.
Might be.
I don't know. Anyway, so now real quick, we don't have as many to make. Let's make some predictions.
I don't want to.
Ravens, Chiefs. Here's the thing.
Go
I'm
Chiefs. I think I won't vote for my heart with my heart anymore.
I'm going Ravens.
I think I'm going Chiefs. I think that offense is going to beat that defense.
Yeah, that defense is really good. Here's the thing. It's not even that offense. Like, the Chiefs don't even have an offense anymore. But
They're winning
Just said
games.
Mahomes was like,
once you get them in the playoffs, it doesn't fucking matter. Like they're just so good. But
They're winning games.
But the Ravens, they're like really winning games. Like they're shutting people down. Like that Houston offense, like CJ Stroud didn't, like John Lewis said it on the last episode. CJ Stroud didn't just have one of the best rookie quarterback seasons. He had one of the best quarterback seasons in history. Like that offense was potent, and the Ravens wrecked them. Like without that punt return, that's a 3-point game. Like that Texans offense put up 3 points on the Ravens. So I don't know. I feel like this is Lamar Jackson's year. It's got to be. I like Lamar Jackson so much.
How old is he?
He's still very young. He's like 25 or 26.
I was going to say he's got time to have a year.
yeah, why did you say this is finally his year? Like
It's got to be his year.
Yeah.
He's suffered so much.
Well,
He's
I know,
not like 30 about or like 38 about to retire.
Yeah, go on, you two.
Go on, Adam.
Okay.
No, you
Well,
can.
what I was going to say is, I know the two of you don't even like sports. If you did, you would know that the actual narrative around Lamar Jackson is he doesn't win in the playoffs, and when is he going to win a Super Bowl? So, yes, that is the entire discussion around Lamar Jackson is when is he finally going to do it?
Got to
So
get out of the Jordan era.
So yeah, he's young, but he's been in the league a long time.
I guess
Let me
this
ask you
ties.
then. You go ahead.
No, ladies first.
No, you go, please.
Okay. I guess this ties back to the statement that you were saying before about Mahomes being the like, well, it's the Mahomes era now. So like that really is sort of is this going to be it, or is it still, are we solidifying that this is the Mahomes era?
I mean, Mahomes does get beat. Like Joe Burrow beat him in
The Broncos beat him.
regular season, but
Yeah.
we're talking
Just let
when
me-
it
let me have
matters.
this.
When it matters.
That's all I
the
had.
Broncos.
It was our Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're talking important games, which yeah.
Not games you guys played.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Are you
Mahomes,
rooting?
they
Are you
can be
voting?
beat. And Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, I remember, beat the Chiefs a couple seasons ago.
Are you calling it because your heart or because of what you really think? Because it sounds like you're calling it because of Lamar Jackson and your heart.
Well, no, he talks about the defense all the time and how good they are too. So
Yeah, like everyone, like look at the NFC and like how hard the 49ers are fighting their way through the playoffs, how close these Lions games have been. Now go look what happened when they both played the Ravens. It wasn't even remotely close. Like the Ravens curb stomped them both. And those are like the two best teams in the NFC. And the Ravens like annihilated them. The Ravens are really fucking good. They just weren't on TV that much this season. Like until the end of the year, they had like no primetime games. So people haven't seen them, but
sleepers.
I would say this is not the same old Ravens. Like Lamar Jackson, speaking of a player who's never really had weapons around him, Lamar Jackson really never has. But now,
very rare for a Raven, by the way.
Well, it's very, very rare for Baltimore to not have weapons around you in general. But
is Baltimore violent?
Have you heard of The Wire?
Oh yeah, I keep being told about that. Okay.
So yeah,
You don't even like HBO original programming.
Wasn't that on like 20 years ago?
Almost, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Now let's talk Niners Lions.
wait,
Yeah, I think
I
the
haven't
Ravens-
voted. I decided I'm not voting. I take back my Chiefs vote.
That-
I can't.
that
I
doesn't work.
can't.
Nope. Kim picks the Chiefs. Jeff, who you got? Chiefs also?
No, I don't. I don't pick anybody.
Kim picks the Ravens. I got the Ravens. Jeff has the Chiefs.
I'm picking the Chiefs, yeah.
I think I'm picking the Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs.
Niners v. Lions. I think the Niners win this game.
Where are they? Are they going to be at the Niners?
In San
Niners
Francisco.
is the number 1 seed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently saw this insane stat that Brock Purdy is like a giant killer when it comes to like facing off against number 1 draft pick quarterbacks, that he tends to do very well against them, which is such an insane stat. And I don't know if that matters, but it seems like he seems to have good luck against number 1 draft picks. But I am going full heart on this one and picking the Lions.
Yeah.
Full heart too. Lions. Also, you
I
never
mean,
know that the
I'm
Niners
kind
might
of
be.
going full heart too by picking the Niners.
I mean, I've been told that it's probably going to be the Niners Ravens Super Bowl. I've thought that for a long time.
It's either way. Like either way, there are 4 teams left in the entire NFL still playing football. So clearly they're all good teams.
I think we can.
Exciting.
I think we can all agree that whoever comes out of the NFC is getting train wrecked in the Super Bowl. I feel like we are on the road to a very boring Super Bowl. Like if
Even the Niners?
Again, did you watch the Niners Ravens game? It wasn't close.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. They got beat by a lot. And the Lions also got beat by a lot.
I feel like America's rooting for the Lions, though. There's like 8 of you that's not.
They're the underdog.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want them to win. Fuck America. When does America make the right choice about anything? Get out of here. You don't tell me what football teams to like.
Barack Obama.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2008.
Which was 2 years after Adams.
The Bears had recently lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's cute when people name American presidents as a thing this country has done. That's good.
Did you just call me cute?
We've never had a good one.
Thank you.
But hey, that's a different podcast.
We had a good dude. We had Jimmy Carter. He was a good dude.
Sure.
That didn't last long.
Fucking sure. The American government sucks.
This whole thing. I can't wait to watch it implode.
But that's a different podcast. Hey, so I'm the only one going Niners?
Yeah. You're the only one everywhere. Everyone is rooting for the underdog, except for 8
people in San Francisco.
Fair. Oh, yeah. Wasn't that the map of like what people want to win the game? And it's just California with the Niners, and then everything else is Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that.
So we'll see how it goes. Until then, that's our episode. Hey, everybody who watched live, thank you so much. Jay the Crow Baron, you know what? You can buy me a Ravens shirt if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. I'll pick an AFC team. Why not? I'll have an AFC team. I got an NFC team. I'll have an AFC team, and I think it probably would be the Ravens because I like Jamar Laxon. Nope. Lamar Jackson is his actual name.
You idiot. You don't even like names.
Jamar Laxon is a cool name too, especially if you spelled it with an X.
That's a space rapper.
Hell yeah. So, yeah. Hey, follow the show on Instagram at You Don't Sports, please. We post clips and things of the like.
And follow here if you're just watching live and you didn't hit subscribe.
Yes.
You should have done that.
Yeah, you should subscribe on YouTube also. We would appreciate that very kindly. And, follow me at Adam Todd Brown. Maybe follow Jeff at Hey There Jeffro. Maybe follow Kim at Kim Crawl. What else does anyone want to mention before we get out of here?
I don't know.
Kim, you got lots of cool stuff, right?
Yeah. Don't we say it every week? Podcast.
Patreon.com/Kim Crawl.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Kim Crawl.
KYMKRAL.
KYMK. Yeah. Do you want to do it?
Jeff, what do you got?
You want to drive?
No, Kim, by all means, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I'm good.
Okay. Patreon.com/Jeff May. We can get early access to uncensored episodes and exclusives like Ugfine with Jeff and Kim Crawl. You can get that at patreon.com/Jeff May or patreon.com/Kim Crawl, KYMKRAL. Lots of podcasts. You can find them. Find us on our social medias at the @UC here on our things, and support live comedy if the people aren't bad people.
But they
No.
probably are.
They most likely are, unless it's
Thank-
our shows specifically.
And all right, let's get out of here. Kim, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jeff, will you say goodbye?
You get the Kim Crawl rookie card.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Gem mint beautiful.
I don't know what that means. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.